What do people feel when they are at Mount Rushmore? Sometimes they are filled with wonder, awe, or amazement. But after those initial impressions, people start to ask questions. How was it built? Why? And by who? Nearly 400 workers helped to make the memorial a reality. And while the majority of the workforce was made up overwhelmingly by men, there were a handful of women whose contributions should not be overlooked. When carving began on the mountain in 1927, women were a rarity in the American workforce. Positions such as drillers, powdermen, and winch house workers were all filled by their male counterparts. Women did not work on the mountain directly, but they provided vital support for the project by running the restaurant, bunkhouse, and gift shop, working in secretarial positions, serving on the Mount Rushmore Memorial Commission, and creating the Mount Rushmore dedication flag. When workers needed a meal or a place to stay, they were always welcome at the bunkhouse and dining room. Located at the base of the mountain, the operation was run by Gladys Swenson and her sister Melba. A meal cost 35 cents, and you could get room and board for $1. The operation employed several cooks and waitresses throughout the years. Sylvia Berg recalled about the bunkhouse in an interview. Well, they had a wood stove in the middle, and they had a great big room, and they had a big long table in there for as many guys as they served. Then in the summertime, they'd add a few more tables because a lot of the tourists would come down there for little snacks. A small gift shop was located in sculptor Gutzon Borglum's studio. Carol Swenson and May Wilcox managed the shop and answered visitor questions. Jean Phillips was responsible for correspondence and payroll. She made $108 a month. During the Depression, while the average American household tried to support their family on $1 a day, Phillips earned a decent wage. Borglum, known for being brilliant but sometimes temperamental, often fired and rehired his workers. Phillips is said to hold the record, having been fired and rehired approximately 17 times. Maxine Wasser, Miriam Hicks, and Ellen K. Kirk served as stenographers for the Mount Rushmore Memorial Commission and made $65 to $75 a month.
The commission, responsible for overseeing the colossal sculpture, was composed of all male members, with the exception of Laureen Jones Spoots.
Many of the women who contributed to Mount Rushmore either met their husbands while working or had other family members who also worked on Mount Rushmore.
Elizabeth Champion Bear was one such worker. Both her father and her brother were employed at Mount Rushmore, and she herself worked in the restaurant in 1935.
As a child, with her father already employed by Borglum, Bear recalls that Borglum would often pick her and her siblings up and drop them off at the schoolhouse. Her sister Margaret said, "He enjoyed us kids," she added. "He would pass us up, and then we'd fight for who was going to sit on his lap." Aside from those who were directly employed through the Mount Rushmore project, there were the wives of the workers who took care of the day-to-day family life as their husbands worked on the mountain. Just as they supported their husbands in various ways, so too did Mary Borglum. Mary was a strong person in her own right, though her own accomplishments are often overshadowed by her husband's. She received a doctorate from the University of Berlin and was educated and taught in some of the most prestigious institutions. She supported her husband both in life and even after his death, as she continued to promote her husband's legacy by co-authoring the book Give the Man Room. Gutzon and Mary's daughter recalled in an interview, "Dad was our leader, but Mother was the glue that kept us all together." She continued, "I don't think he would have been the person he was without her because she was a very steadying influence upon him." One of the most visible and tangible contributions that women made toward Mount Rushmore was the creation of a 39-foot by 67-foot flag. The Rapid City Women's Club, headed by Mrs. C.C. Ward and Mary Borglum, sewed the flag that was used at each dedication. Borglum loved elaborate celebrations to keep momentum for the project alive and capture the nation's attention. Each time a face was finished, Borglum would dedicate it. These dedications featured grand spectacles such as ceremonial blasts of dynamite, musical entertainment, speeches, and once even floodlights. One thing that was consistent throughout each of the dedications was the use of the same flag to cover and subsequently unveil each face.
Prior to the dedication of George Washington in 1930, the flag was draped over the Alex Johnson Hotel located in nearby Rapid City.
At that time, it was considered the largest flag in the world. Each star measures 27 inches. Today, the flag is displayed in the Lincoln Borglum Visitor Center. It is important to remember all the people who contributed to the memorial. It is easy to find information on the men who worked on the project, but it is equally important to recognize the women. Their contributions help fill in the larger story of the memorial.